All right, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are having a great day, man. Now, this is not a video that I wanted to have to make. Things happen the way they did, though, and so, we have to talk about it. We can't just ignore it. We can't just pretend it never happened. At the end of the day, we lost. We lost in the first round of the biggest tournament of the year, the club championship. We lost to John Beast, a great competitor. He actually ended up going on to beat Joke in the second round. A big upset, one of the craziest games I've ever watched to move on to the final eight. So, man, First off, just want to say GG and congratulations to John Beast, man. He's a great competitor. Not a lot of people know about him. I think a lot of people kind of had high expectations. I had high expectations for myself, man. I think a lot of people too. I got a ton of negative comments after the game from people I've never interacted with before. A lot of people who, I've never even seen comment on my channel. A lot of people just coming out of the woodworks to really throw a lot of hate. And a lot of people were saying that I was cocky because I said I think I'm confident enough to win the whole thing. And I don't really know how that's cocky. I honestly feel like I'm probably one of the least cocky people in the competitive Madden community. I really feel like I don't have an ego. Maybe a little bit to an extent, but I like to keep myself humble. And a big part of that is, my first ever tournament, Madden 18, I got super cocky in a game. I was up a lot, folded a huge lead. And after that, I kind of just learned my lesson, just shut up and play the game. And, yeah, so I definitely learned that lesson the hard way. But I really don't feel like I'm cocky at all. Me saying I'm confident, in myself and my abilities to win the whole tournament is not being cocky. If you asked any competitor, hey, are you going to win? And they said no, they're going to lose. It's really, winning's like a mindset. And I think that was a huge reason why I lost too. I think I had part of the mindset right, but I think there was another huge aspect of it that I just didn't have down. And honestly, I think that's ultimately why I didn't win. I'll talk about that a little bit here in a second. We'll also break down some clips and a little bit. You guys can, analyze the game yourself, some of the decisions that I made, some of the results that basically ended up losing me the game in the game itself. So we'll go over all that, man. We'll talk about, basically my preparation, why I think I lost, a lot of different parts went into it. But like I said, man, John Beast played out of his mind. He played great on defense, and obviously, it wasn't a fluke. He beat Joke as well, one of the greatest Madden players of all time. So again, congratulations to John. Let's go ahead and move on to the next part. We'll talk a little bit more about the game and why I feel like I lost. Okay, so going back to what I said about having part of the mindset right, I mentioned that I had a huge lead in my first ever Club Series game in the Cardinals Club Championship against Voltrax Madden 18. And Voltrax, he won the Club Championship last year, won the whole thing. He was like a top 5 player in the world at the time of playing him in Madden 18. And, I was very new to the community. I didn't really talk to anyone. I was in college. I played sports, I hung out with my friends. I wasn't really super invested in the Madden community. I didn't stream or anything like that. I literally just played for fun. I played to compete as well. I did pretty well. I had no idea what I was doing, but I got to the championship for the Cardinals, in the game that would obviously qualify me for the top 32, which I actually made for the first time this year. So even though we did lose in the first round, I'm still pretty proud of myself for finally getting over the hump, making it to the final 32. But yeah, I was basically up by a lot against Voltrax. He got pretty lucky in the game. It was definitely super unlucky, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how unlucky you get. If you're up a lot, you have to close it out, man. You got to be in the clutch. You got to close it out. There's really no excuses for it. And yeah, we should have won that game. I received a ton of hate after that too, man. That's one of the things I noticed. Whenever you make a good run and you lose, everyone's quick to jump on you. Everyone's quick to drop those hateful comments. Everyone wants to bring you down to their level. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that it doesn't suck, because it does suck. But I don't really want anyone to feel bad for me. That's kind of the position I put myself in by competing and by being a streamer. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I can live with it. It sucks in the moment, but it doesn't last long for at least me to move on. I think I have pretty thick skin, but like I said, I received a ton of hateful comments after that, and it kind of hurt because that was really the first interaction. My whole life I kind of kept to myself, but to see all those comments I couldn't even go into the Twitch chat without people saying haha, you folded, oh, you got super cocky mid game, you said the game was over and then you lost, you're a clown and stuff like that. And I think that whole experience kind of I think it was kind of good and kind of bad, because I want to say it was good because I learned my lesson not to be cocky and just to close out games. But I think maybe not showing that amount of passion was a bad thing, right? I think maybe I took more away from that lesson instead of learning how to close out games and keep your focus 100% of the time and don't let people back into it. Just foot on the throat and just bury them. I think I should have taken that aspect of it. Instead, I took the aspect of don't embarrass yourself. Because I think by taking that out of it, taking that lesson out of that experience, I think I really hurt myself competitively. I think I reserve a lot of my emotion when I play now. I'm not emotionally invested into the game. I care more about saving face and looking good and not embarrassing myself than I do about actually just playing to the best of my ability, investing myself fully into the game and winning. And I think a big reason why I lost this game was because I lacked focus. It's not that I didn't prepare enough. I prepared a lot. It's not that I wasn't confident that I could win. I was confident that I could win, but I felt myself. I could almost see myself in the third person while I was playing. It's hard to explain, but I feel like I lacked 100% focus. I was 70% focused. I lacked that last 30% that I needed to really lock in and get the job done. And like I said, I think a huge part of that is because I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to get up and get excited and be passionate about the game, just so that if I lost, people wouldn't give me hate comments like the last time. But I got hate comments anyway, and I got a ton of them. So I think maybe my lesson is, be more passionate about it. Don't be afraid to get up. Don't be like, oh, that was a blind read. Let's go. That's a bag. Don't be afraid to yell and be passionate and invest yourself into the game. And I really think that's how you get that 100% focus. Let's go ahead. We're gonna take a look at some clips from the game. You guys can go ahead, analyze it yourselves. You guys can let me know in the comments below what you guys think of each and every play. I actually thought I made pretty decent decisions the whole game. I ended up throwing 4 or 5 picks. We kind of threw a garbage time pick, so I think we threw 3 or 4 picks throughout the course of the game. And honestly, I don't really feel like I made terrible decisions on any of those interceptions. Sometimes that's just the way the game goes. Madden's obviously very RNG, a lot of animation-based, things going on in the game. And that's not to sit here and say oh, I lost because, I got lucky or I lost the dice rolls. I certainly think I lost some of them, but, there was a couple plays I got lucky on as well. I think John Beast threw he threw a really nice dot early in the game inside my red zone when I turned the ball over, and the ball went through his hands, so he could easily had 7 there. So there was definitely a lot of circumstances and scenarios where I got lucky as well. I took a hit stick with Gannon and didn't fumble, so it's not me sitting here and making excuses or saying I got lucky or my opponent got lucky. That's not the case, but it's more of analyzing the decisions I made in the game, and I want to be objective about it. So let's go ahead, hop in those clips and break them down. Okay, so you guys are going to see this. This is actually my first offensive drive. I'm going up top after running and passing on a couple plays. Right here, he actually blitzed his safety, left it wide open, got clicked onto his D and John Abraham. Should have been a wide open touchdown, but because he sent so many people out, I did block my running back, but because he sent so many people at the quarterback, someone came through, hit me as I threw. I basically snapped the ball, and pretty much as soon as I saw it, I pressed the button. I thought I pressed it pretty quickly. Could have been a touchdown. I guess he could have picked it too. I don't really expect a defensive end to pick a ball with how often corners drop the ball in this game, but kind of a tough break right there. Thought I made a really good read. Ended up only being 3 instead of 7, but I'm okay with that. Opening drive 3, definitely not a bad start to the game. So our next clip here, man, we're up 3-0. We got a turnover. We got the ball back. 4th and 3 on my own 32. I decided since it was early in the game, my second drive, I thought we could go ahead, go for it here. Right there, we threw a kind of a dot to Alvin Kamara. Doesn't get his feet in bounds. It really looked like he was in bounds, but I can't be that mad at that one either. Kind of a 50-50 right there. I thought I made a good read. Thought I kind of threw it maybe a tad too late. I don't know if I should have gone for that or not. I feel like it was too early in the game to decide if it was going to be a super defensive game. Obviously, it ended up being super defensive, but since it was only my second drive and I moved the ball relatively well on my first drive, I thought I would go for it. Thought I made the right read. I thought that was really the only thing open, and kind of maybe just threw it a little bit too late. So our next one here, man, it's 3-3, a minute 56 left, and this was the biggest play of the game. He left the tight end corner absolutely naked. Tony Gonzalez was streaking up the sideline with no zone on that side of the field except for a deep blue. Probably would have been a huge gain if we could have made one guy miss, potentially a touchdown, but he sent the crib again, and Gannon's release is so terribly slow. We got to throw out a sack. I basically snapped and made the read as fast as possible. That was my first read. It was on pretty much every single play. I had route tech on my tight end. I knew he was running a lot of man. I was pretty much going to that every single down. He gave it to me right there, but an unfortunate throw out of sack, and it went for 6 as well. So in this clip, man, we're currently down 7 late in the third quarter right here. Again, man-to-man coverage, maybe X, but he had him middle third. No zone on the right side of the field. I playmaker up. We actually had a step on Sneed. I should have lobbed it. If you guys heard the audio from my commentary mid-game, my live commentary, I said I should have lobbed it, and I should have, man. It would have been a wide-open touchdown. There was no zone on the right side of the field. If we lob it over him after getting a step on the playmaker, would have been a touchdown. I decided to bullet it. I thought we still may have had it with having the step with Alvin Kamara over Sneed, but Sneed 6'1". He's going to go up and get that. Really nice click on from John. Not a bad decision. Could have made a better decision. And then in the last clip, man, I'm still down 7. Fourth quarter, still a lot of life right there. Again, off the cut, Tony Gonzalez burns him, man. We were basically flipping the trips, basically to try to get that matchup with Tony Gonzalez on a non-one step ahead player. We burned him right there. Kind of a bad pass lead. I should have pass led it up. Again, potentially a massive, massive gain. He burned his man coverage with that route technician ability, but I think I pass led it too far towards the sideline. So it was the right read. It was kind of a bad read too. If you watch it back in slow motion, Gannon kind of underthrew it. A lot of underthrows from Gannon in this game. I think that's probably part of the territory that comes with using the gunslinger ability. Because you throw it lower, you throw it faster. Again, not a bad decision. I thought it was the right read. He did cook him. Watching it back, he cooked him easily. Would have been a huge gain. Just could have made a better decision. Maybe could have passed it up. I was just kind of afraid of the safety, so I passed it towards the sideline. Because of it, he underthrew it. Maybe just some bad timing throughout the game. Again, a lot of it was really just could have made better decisions. I don't think I made terrible decisions. I don't think I froze up. I don't think I wasn't prepared. I don't think I was nervous. I don't think I just, folded or anything like that. I thought I made good decisions. I thought I made the right decisions. Again, I think the moral of the story is I could have made better decisions, though. And I think those better decisions, I think the difference between making good decisions and great decisions, or the perfect decisions, is being invested in the game. And I talked a lot about that earlier, man. Being invested in the game, being emotionally invested, having that 100% focus. I think if I were to have that, I could have made 100% the right decisions in every scenario and easily won the game. And with how many, I showed you guys 5 clips. There was a lot more scenarios in this game that could have swung the game. And really, if any one of those things, if we make the perfect decision in any one of these scenarios, we can easily still win the game. With how many mistakes there were in the game, with how many mistakes we made, even if we made the perfect decision in one of them, we still could have given ourselves a better chance and still won the game because we played amazing defense. I think he had 1 first down pretty much the entire game. He had he kind of had the touchdown I talked about earlier. He had the touchdown through his hands off the turnover. So that was a bit unlucky from him. And then he had one big bomb, one 60 or 70 yard bomb to Randy Moss. But other than that, we played perfect defense. I mean, he could not get a yard. My bunch defense was so good, but that's not to say he didn't deserve to win. He played great on defense as well. He capitalized on turnovers, even though I thought we moved the ball okay. We had some good pass plays, but he capitalized on my mistakes. And he earned it, man. He earned the dub. I appreciate all you guys who shared kind words with me after the game. Like I said, I was definitely upset after it, even though I wasn't 100% focused, 100% emotionally invested in the game. I was still really upset. I really wanted to win it more than anyone else. And for those of you guys that gave me supporting words, whether it was on Twitter, YouTube, whatever it may be, or whether it's on this video, I do really appreciate you guys. You guys make it worth it, man, even if I lose. So I appreciate you guys as always. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. Peace.